Alright, so Spider-Man No Way Home, the more fun stuff version, aka the extended edition, yeah, that's just a lot of words, is now available on digital. All you Spidey fans have yet again another excuse to binge this film with roughly 10 new scenes and a whopping 13 minutes of footage. Now, whether or not this extended version is worth it is still up for debate, but the added post-credit scene is the one bit we're going to be focusing on, because it does a way better job at illustrating the somewhat ambiguous Doctor Strange spell that was cast at the end of the film. So we're going to be diving into the original and revised spells, how this all actually worked, and how this potentially affects Peter's future in a Spider-Man 4 and beyond. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then thwip that like button as it helps the channel, and also don't forget to subscribe for breakdowns and recaps like this every day. With that out of the way, a huge thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into the video. So in this first part of the video, I want to recap the original and revised spells Peter has Doctor Strange cast for him. In the Undercroft of the Sanctum, Peter originally meets with Doctor Strange and has him cast the spell stating,
"The entire world's about to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, including me."
Meaning the entire world, every single person will forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, which honestly sounds like the best outcome. No one remembers who Spidey is. Hell, it could be Paul for all we know. Oi there, Governor, swing and throw! But I do understand Peter's frustrations with him not being able to share his secret with his friends and family, which drives to not one, not two, but 4 interruptions of Strange's spell, resulting in it loosely following the parameters of everyone that knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man before should still know him after. Now, we know this obviously resulted in other villains and Spider-Men who knew this secret to get sucked off, sucked into the 616 universe. This is why nostalgia was ham-fisted into the movie, and honestly, it worked so well. Now, if we fast forward to the end of the film with Doctor Strange trying to fix the multiversal fissures in the sky, preventing all of the other characters from populating our main MCU universe, Peter has Strange change the spell too.
So cast a new spell, but this time make everyone forget who Peter Parker is. Make everyone forget me.
Like the first spell, every single person on Earth will be affected, but instead of simply forgetting that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, they will entirely forget who Peter Parker is. It's essentially as though he never existed. He was never part of people's lives, he never saved the universe in Infinity War and Endgame, just poof, almost like a Thanos snap, but solely for the Peter Parker persona. I can't even imagine how difficult it would be to get a driver's license, obtain a loan, sign up for a dating site like eHarmony. I'm getting off topic, but you catch my drift. And this is what we all come to understand with the final scenes of No Way Home. Happy doesn't know Peter, MJ doesn't remember him, he is living by himself and essentially leaning into the Spider-Man persona as his main life, while building everything back up, starting a new life with friends, family, and loved ones. I kind of assumed he was a John Doe type character at the end, no paper trail through the, 18 years of his life so far. However, the post-credits scene of the more fun stuff version, who titled this, of No Way Home actually does a great job of showing how this spell actually works, and I'm a little surprised that it was left out of the theatrical version. So the scene first opens on high schoolers at Midtown High looking up at a television screen, reminding them of various things from graduation photo pickup to cafeteria safety, which is done hilariously bad like some sort of late night infomercial. But then things shift over to Betty's corner with Betty the Baddie Brand, as it's a bit of a video yearbook looking back at the past couple of years, or rather the events of Homecoming and Far From Home. There's video from the decathlon, prom, Europe trip, along with explaining that some of them disappeared for 5 years and then reappeared, thanks Grimace. But one interesting clip is the group posing on their Europe trip. The whole group is posing, but one person's face is obstructed by some pigeons that are flying through the frame, and this is Peter. If we go back to Far From Home, his clothing matches this person's, so essentially Doctor Strange's spell straight up Mike Wazowski'd him from any evidence of his existence, which is drastically different from what we thought the spell originally accomplished. Originally, I thought, poof, all traces of him were gone, but it appears that there's proof here or there that some person existed with them, examples being that photo that I just showed, along with MJ still wearing the necklace that Peter gave to her. Like, people remember a random person being with them, but do not know that it was Peter, which is honestly a strange way about going with things, but I think if he would have entirely been removed from these situations or events, the timeline would have gone all wacky-tobacky and caused much more of a fiasco than essentially placing this faceless sim to live out these events. While Peter does have all of these memories, sadly, no one else does. Now, what does this mean for Peter's future? Well, it means he is having to start over. In the first 3 films, it was him coming into the Spider-Man alter ego, whereas here, without Aunt May, Happy, the Avengers, MJ, or Ned, I think Spider-Man 4 will touch on him having to build upon his Peter Parker half. It's a weird reset button in a Spidey sense that allows for the character to meet entirely different allies and villains, splintering the story in one of many different directions, pulling from the dozens of comic storylines. I could see Sony and Marvel Studios sticking with the home naming convention, titling it Spider-Man Home Again, Homesick, or Spider-Man
Oh shit, here we go again.
And him actually leaning into his Daily Bugle origins that we're used to. This reset could also bring in Gwen Stacy as a love interest, Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat, as a fly in his web, Harry Osborn, or the MCU version of Eddie Brock, along with a whole bevy of Spidey's rogues gallery that we've seen in previous installments, or new ones that have yet to get their live action treatment. Hell, maybe even a Sinister Six movie. Oh, no. Not this weird Morbius setup Sinister Six, but with the Scorpion Man. Whatever happened to this dude? Like, he was set up just for nothing. Of course, this is all speculation and theories, but I do think that there's going to be fractures in the spell that Doctor Strange cast. With this lingering evidence of Peter Parker being present in a couple of photos, I can see MJ doing some hardcore investigative journalism because of the pictures and necklace she has, and solving who Spider-Man is once again, much like she did in Far From Home. They left the door open with those two, and it would be odd for them not to somehow tie her and maybe Ned back into the fold of it all. Another thing to think about is the ripple effect of the final spell that was cast. Everyone was flowing into the main 616 universe because they knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man. But with the final spell essentially erasing Peter Parker from the world, does that then jump into all of these different universes and do the same thing? In the entire multiverse, no one remembers Peter Parker. Because if so, that would be an already established way to build upon a live-action MCU Spider-Verse story. Maybe not the most creative way, but it would allow for all of these spider people to sympathize with one another to help bring things back to normal. Either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Peter Parker spell and how you think it will play into the future Spider-Man movies and even the overall MCU in general. And I'll let you know, we are currently running a competition giving away 3 copies of Top Gun Maverick on the 15th of November, and all you have to do to get a chance of winning this is like this video, make sure to subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment down below on your thoughts of Spider-Man, the more fun stuff version in this spell. We pick the comments at random at the end of the month, and the winners of the last month are on screen right now. So if that is you, message me on Twitter at Heavy Spoilers. If you want something else to watch, be sure to check out some of our other cool videos, whether it be our House of Dragon coverage or our Halloween Ends breakdown. With that out of the way, thanks for the constant support. I've been Jared, you've been you, this is the video, and thanks for sticking through. That rhymed, and I gotta get out of here. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and peace.